What's happening, YouTube, IG, Facebook, whoever get this, Twitter, whatever. Peace, love, and abundance, though. It's your boy, Mr. Jindyanajones, Mr. J-Indy Intellect. Don't want to litter. Yeah, Mr. J-Indy Intellect. Anywho, just chopping it up with y'all real quick. Coming in to tune in with y'all. So, I've been doing some more massive research, actually. And you know me, I pop around everywhere, you know, Sagittarius and me. So, very adaptive, but, you know, very optimistic. And I count them like everywhere, you know what I'm saying? They said, if I'm not the life of the party, want to party all day type person, then I'm the extra serious philosopher. So right now, I guess you can call me the extra serious philosopher. And just a few things I wanted to talk about. So this inauguration BS coming out tomorrow. On the news actually gave it away because they was talking about, or was it the news? I think it was the talk with them chicks that be talking and stuff. They used to have Eve on there and they kicked her off or some shit. But the talk, they was talking the other day. I think it was an episode they had Drew Carey on there at night because Drew Carey got the new, what's it called? Price is Right at nighttime. So he was, you know, he's supposed to be explaining that. But overall, they were saying, as far as the inauguration, like, how could they do it or something? I mean, they supposed to be doing it outside, so they were saying how they should do it. So they was kind of saying, we think that they should go to Vegas and secretly do it without nobody knowing it. You know what I'm saying? Well, that's kind of like in a way of what's going on, because it's a whole BS inauguration. So bottom line, the whole Trump battle talking about everything rigged and shit. We know everything rigged. It's always been rigged. Everything has always been rigged. And some people like Trump is with them. Some people like Trump ain't with them. You gotta understand, you got different forms of power, and these different forms of power are fighting each other. Best said by a seer, you have the elite group of death versus the elite group of the eagle. Those are the two forces that are fighting right now. So I did a video, I think in 2019. I made a video back in 2019 saying Trump will win this election or whatever way beforehand. And the reason I was saying that is based off of, if Trump win, it helps us out for the Republic, because we are the Republic. Like the original Moorish, the original American, so native, the original native to America. And now when I say the original native to America, I'm not talking about Native Americans. Look, this is one thing we got to get together, and I might be jumping around, but I tell y'all, you're not from Africa, right? So as a colored person, as a melanated person, you're not from Africa. If you know you're from Africa, then you are from Africa. That's simple. That is real simple. Majority of you are not from Africa. Let me just break it down real quick. Mexicans and what you would call black people, aka African American, them two forces, them two groups of people has always been native to America. We've always been native to America. We are Native Americans. We're the real Native Americans. A lot of colored folks on both sides, the brown and the dark brown, right? All shades. It's really all shades. So you think of a Mexican, and then you think of a black person, and then you think of all of the colors we can actually have, right? Regardless of that, we're the natural original Americans. So then we'll say, what about the light-skinned Native Americans, right? A lot of people always consider them, like even my homeboy. Like I told him, like, man, look at this nose. I said, this is some Chickasaw, Yazoo. At the end of the day, we Aztec, because all Native Americans from Mississippi lands is Aztec origin. So Aztec, I'm Aztec at the end of the day, which is Mexican, right? But then I'm black, right? And then I'm African American, right? So anywho, what about the light-skinned people that when you see them, you be like, oh yeah, they Native Americans, right? They got the long hair and you need to understand when y'all talk about like these slave trades, and number one, y'all information all messed up, talking about all these black people was at the bottom of the ship from Africa, and then they came here in Columbus and stuff. Man, y'all people was bad. Y'all like to listen to a lot of people's history. Y'all like to listen to his story a lot. Y'all definitely like to listen to his story, or your founding father's stories. You know what I'm saying? That's your father. Those motherfuckers your father. They barely had any hair on their head. Them motherfuckers was bald headed, with white and bald. Like, those is y'all fathers. Those is not my father. Not one of them is my father. And my ancestors were here way before they got here, right? Anywho, back to the so-called Native Americans. It's a book. I need to get I'm gonna put the book in a post. Now that I can write posts or whatever, I'm gonna be sharing a lot of posts, by the way, a lot of pictures, a lot of information. It's cool that I can do that now, because now I can really just start sharing y'all information, giving y'all sources, so y'all can start looking at stuff, so y'all can understand why I be talking the way I talk, or sometimes I don't even have to talk. You know what I'm saying? I can write it down, which is cool. But y'all gotta understand, like within that book, they was basically explaining how Asian people from Asia, more than likely like China and, you know, Asia, right? How they were sent over here from the Spanish. So the Spanish, they got a certain group, they went to a certain spot in Asia, got a group of people who were way more domesticated, right? And they brought them over here, took them to places like Mexico and things of that nature. And overall, when you had all these slave antics going on, and you know how they were saying black people were slaves, pretty much most colored folks, like I said, you had the black people and you had the Mexicans already in the Americas. So what they were doing was, since you had one culture that was easier domesticated, they were easier to pretty much influence, you know what I'm saying, to say, hey, you got to do this, hey, you got to do that. So it came rules and laws once they started figuring out, well, if we got any ties to black people, we would be enslaved. But if we go by the term Native American, then we won't be considered as a black person. Not only did we get brought over here from our original origin and country, but now they telling us to be a certain way, or we're gonna be treated like these other folks. So knowing them, they was like, well, we don't want to be treated like them other folks, so we're gonna do what you say. So that happened, and you know, it's more intense than that, but bottom of the line, that's pretty much what happened. You have Asians who got bamboozled to becoming Native Americans. So then the Native Americans that people call Native Americans today aren't necessarily really Native Americans. That was one of the ways that they got rid of the origins of who you really are. Like when people tell you to know thyself, most of y'all people don't know who you are. And now you got a lot of movements talking about black people, Black Lives Matter, save black people, all this racist stuff or discrimination and prejudice, and man, all of it is a ricocheted situation of tampering that's going to continue to go backwards until somebody come out with the truth and start spreading the truth, and more people start understanding. You have a lot of people starting to understand now, due to the times of intellect right now, due to the times of knowledge right now, due to the time of intuition, due to the time of fruitation, due to the time of Aquarius. So we moving up, we moving on, and we learning stuff now. And there's no more going backwards, we moving forward now. So now, if you Mexican or if you quote unquote African American, come to find out you're really not, you know what I'm saying? You actually Native American. You're not African, you're Native American. So that's a small point of me just saying you are Native American, not African American. And what you would consider to be a Native American is probably really a native to Asia, right? Then it's the whole thing of how you got the little canal in Alaska that's connected to Russia in the first place, and then you got a certain time period where you can actually walk across to Asia from North America to Asia anyway. So we've been connected. They don't really want to talk about that. That's like a big part of history that they definitely leave out when they talk about slaves and all this stuff. Certain people do get traded and switched and swapped and all of this and whatnot. It's just not the way that they tell you and they teach it to you. You got to understand, if you have a superior group of people, it's this: whenever anybody wins, they become the rewriters of history. So if you win a war, you control history. You control what's going on. You control what people don't know, you know? So that's just some information y'all need to understand or start researching. Y'all need to get that. But then anyway, back to the video I made back in like 2009 talking about Trump was gonna win. But basically I was just really adding up that the people of the republic, the natural people of the republic, us, like, we want it to be the republic. We don't want it to be a democracy. Democracy is not even in the U.S. Constitution. It's not in the bill. Democracy is in none of the starting foundations of law that we have today. Do they have democracy in it? It was it was never based on a democracy. The democracy was brought in by Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson was the bringer in of democracy, y'all. That's a whole nother person. You need to research who Thomas Jefferson really is then to figure that part out, you know? But that wasn't just always here to begin with. It wasn't like that. Y'all really need to start going back to the roots of things. But anywho, inauguration, fake. The whole Capitol crap is fake. Definitely fake. That whole Capitol crap is completely staged, rigged. It's a complete movie. It's a complete television show. Like, think of every White House movie that you can think of when some type of form of terrorists come and take over the White House. Think of everything you can think of. Imagine what happens in those movies, the things that they have to do to take over it, and the thing that the nation do to protect or whatever. Now look at what happened to the Capitol under siege or whatever. And then still to this day, it's airing on television like it was the end of the world, right? Like 9/11. It's as big as 9/11 basically, according to mainstream media. That is horrible, because like you have 5 casualties, right? Okay, 5 deaths. Not one of those deaths was like, besides old girl getting popped, wasn't none of those deaths like on some real life combat, we gonna kill you or you gonna kill us, right? Then if it's the Capitol under siege, that's really like Civil War type stuff. So it's one side versus the other. Well, they was in DC, and as far as I know, all 2020 it was either black people versus cops or black people, and then the people who seized the Capitol, Confederate flag and stuff, that's basically white people versus black people. Truth. Yeah, white versus black, right? And then the founding of all of that was based off of allegedly black men taking all of the white women back in the 1800s and stealing all the white man women. So they made black men look bad. They used to make articles and all types of commercials, whatnot, showing the black gremlins stealing all of the women. Like it was like Crumpets or Jeepers Creepers or some shit, as the black person coming after the white women as them being the victims. Yet at the end of the day, you know, if every white woman had babies by nothing but colored people, eventually the pure white would disintegrate. Basically it would evaporate. It would go away. It would be tainted to the point that you cannot bring it back. So that was a big basis of why they started that whole Confederate and all that in the first place, right? Allegedly. This is what they say, though. This is how they defend it. This is what they say. So, in like the Wilmington, when they seized the Wilmington back in 18, I don't want to give you no fake date. I want to say around like 1896, allegedly, somewhere around there, hypothetically. Date time is hypothetical, but the truth is that it really happened, right? So you can do the research on that too. Anywho, like I was saying, the whole inauguration shit, it's basic. This whole thing is fake. It's a soap opera, and you got two sides. One side that we actually want to win, like, so we want Trump people to do what they do. It's like you keep your friends close, but you keep your enemies closer, right? So it's like, if Trump and them is our enemy, which they are, right? But when we want our enemies to take out the other enemy anyway, so we can get a heads up with what's going on, so we can know how to move. And that's kind of how I was talking in that video like 2 years ago. People thought I was all Trump side. Everybody still think, oh, you on Trump side and stuff. Like, at the end of the day, when I talk to people about who Trump is as a person, like, he was just always an entertainer to me. Why come I can't like entertainers? He's an entertainer to me. He's funny as hell to me. He's just a funny dude. Like, I don't believe in stuff that he say and do and whatnot, but he's just a funny person. So I laugh at it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not mad. What am I mad about? He ain't did nothing specifically to hurt me at all. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, he's attacking my enemy. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. Like the whole Obama and Clinton and all of these drug dealers. Clintons is drug dealers, massive drug dealers, and they murderers. Biden and Kamala Harris, they horrible, evil people that done locked up our people for the past 30 years, and we giving all our power to them. Like, they just didn't mess up our lives for the past 30 years. That's why majority black folks, black kids don't got no black fathers, because they black fathers is dead or in jail. War on drugs. All of that is basically amounted to a lot of these bills and articles that Biden is attached to. And people say, oh, he's gonna change. They say he's gonna fix and change. Man, that's fucked up. Is somebody off your motherfucking grandma, and then 30 years later you like, oh, they changed and they gonna change shit? Man, y'all some goofies, bro. Y'all straight goofies. And what y'all gonna say? Oh, well, Trump is a part of the Ku Klux Klan then. So I'd rather be on somebody's side who's then tore up our family and stuff, versus the Ku Klux Klan, who's been dormant for the past 100 so years. These motherfuckers ain't been standing on no business. They ain't been standing on no business. They been under wraps. They been hiding. They ain't been out in the light. They been in the dark. They been secret. They been, you know what I'm saying, laying low. But then you got somebody else who ain't laying low, and they doing shit deliberately, directly in our face, showing us it, doing it, laughing at it, getting rich off of it, and making us suffer for so many years. And then they bring somebody else out the dark just so we can stay on their side, just because they know they was losing and they know that they was about to get wiped out. Y'all gotta understand though, it still get deeper, because, you know, I talk about a lot more things: cosmologies, astrologies, astrotheology, metaphysics, just science, and real natural God. You know what I'm saying? Real life. You know what I'm saying? Real Jesus, Allah. You know? That's what I'm really based upon, the real principles of humanity, who we are. You know, light. The real truth on light. Truth is light. Like, that's what I'm really based off of, mainly. So me talking about just this little situation, just because this is what the energy is on right now, aka demon time. This is a part of that demon time. All this demon time, all these rappers talking about, they on demon time. Well, this is demon time. We on demon time right now. We got into March, guys. We got into March. But don't be on demon time. Just understand the frequency. Watch the frequency. See the frequency. And move appropriately, right? Keep yourself armored. You know what I'm saying? It gets deeper than this, but I just came just to to talk about a little bit of that. Yeah, I'll be back, y'all. I'm gonna write posts and everything. I gotta hit this though. Peace, love, and abundance.